Let's grab the mic. Okay, so we're about to start. You got your, I guess you didn't bring anything. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala, wa ba'd. Okay, so, inshallah ta'ala, we have very few of the huruf left. But just as a reminder, who can tell me what does the word harf mean? Harf.
Language.
No. Harf.
A letter.
Letter, right. So the word harf means letter, and the word huruf means letters, right? That's the plural. Okay, so we only really have 8 letters left. We're going to do a little review, and I think that we can just, cover all 8 today, inshallah. Is it 8 or, let me see, that's 4 plus 3. Okay, 7, so that's good. All right, so last class, these were the huruf that we covered. This one is sheen, and this one is sad, and this is qaf, and this is zay, and this is va. Okay? And we looked at the sheen, and we saw that it had a dhamma over it. And we said that a sheen with a dhamma over it, how do you say that? Shu. Right. And then we looked at the sad, which has a dhamma over it, and the sad with a dhamma over it is pronounced su. Right. And we looked at the qaf with a dhamma over it, and the qaf with a dhamma over it is pronounced ku. Right. And we looked at the zay with a dhamma over it, and the zay with a dhamma over it is pronounced zu. And we looked at the dha with a dhamma over it, and the dha with a dhamma over it is pronounced vu. Okay. So that we did last class. Right, so this class we're going to cover 7. I know it might be a lot, but inshallah ta'ala, we'll breeze through it, and we'll review it again, bidnillahi jalla jalalu, next class. So we're going to divide them up. We're going to cover the first 4, then we're going to go and cover the last 3. Okay, so let's look at this harf. What harf is this? Who knows? No. Dal. Right, this is dal. 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 Right, and what harf is this? No. Jeen. That's right, this is harf jeen. 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 And what harf is this? What? Ta. This is harf ta. So we say ta, ta, ta. And what harf is this? No, ghain. This is harf ghain. So we say ghain, ghain, ghain. Okay, now let's go back to the dal. Right, the dal has a dhamma over it. How do we say the dal with a dhamma over it? Do. Do. So this is very similar to the D in English, right? So, do. Now the Jim with a dhamma over it, how do we say that? Ju. Right, so we have do, Ju. Do, Ju. All right, and now we have the ta with a dhamma over it, how do we say that? Tu. Right, so we have do, Ju, tu. Now this one might be a little difficult. We have the ghain with a dhamma over it. How do we say the ghain with a dhamma over it? Ru. That's right. So we have ru, tu. No, it's G, like G-H, I would say. Ru. Yeah, there's no equivalent to it in English. So, So the closest thing is G-H. Is ru. Yeah. So ru, tu, ju, and do. Okay, so now let's look at the last three, right? And we have here the harf that looks like this. What harf is that? Almost looks like a qaf without the dots. Almost. What harf is this? Wow. The wow. Right? The wow. So wow. 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 And what harf is this? And this almost looks like the jeen, but there's no dot. No dot. Ha. The ha. 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 Okay, so the ha, and we have the wow. And what harf is this? It looks like the sod, but it has a dot. Dod. Right? So we have dod, ha, and wow. Okay, dod, ha, and wow. Okay, so how do we say the wow with a dhamma over it? We did that already. We did that. We covered that. A lot. You see, you have to remember from a long time ago, but we covered it. Okay, how do we say the wow with a dhamma over it? Woo. Right? This is woo. Like in wudu. That's correct. That's the wow. How do we say the ha with a dhamma over it? Hu. Right? Hu. And not who. Remember who? That's the ha. That's the ha. This is hu, which is the ha. So it comes from the ha comes from the chest. The ha comes from the throat. Okay? And then we have the dad with a dhamma over it. How do we say the dad with a dhamma over it? Du. Du, that's like the va. That's the va. But it's like you press your tongue at the side. All right? Right, what do you call it? The canine, where your canine is. That's where the dad sounds come from. You could either use the right or the left side, but it comes from that. Like it says, well, dad min hafatihi ida waliyah. Like it says in the poem, Al-Jazariya, the dad is from the hafa, which is the side, ida waliyah at adras, that follows the adras, which is that which is close to the canine. Okay. So the dad is du. So we have du, hu, woo. Du, hu, woo. Okay. Any questions on that? We're done, guys. We just covered all of the Arabic huruf, or in Arabic you would say al-huruf al-Arabiyya, right? We've covered the 3 vowel sounds, and the only thing that we're not going to cover is the lack of vowel sounds, because you really can't cover that by itself. It only makes sense with another letter and another vowel sound. Okay, but before we do that, let's talk about elongation. Now we know how to make short vowel sounds, right? We have a word, we have a letter or a harf, we have a vowel sound with it. So for example, a dal with the vowel sound kasra, we say what? Vi. Now that's a short E sound. What if we want to make a long E sound, like E? We add after it the ya. So the ya, it is suitable to elongate the kasra, right? So instead of saying the, we say the, right? Here we have a wa with a kasra. So we'll say we, right? If we want to elongate that, we have the wa with the kasra followed by the ya. So this is we. This is we. Okay? Same thing here with the ha. We have the ha with a kasra underneath it. This is he. Right? Now if we have the ha with a kasra underneath it followed by ya, this is he. So we have he, we, the. Give you some time to write that down. Yeah, no problem. Any questions so far? Go ahead.
It says that, is it true that it says that it's 7 throat letters?
Um, Seven throat. Now we're talking about, if you're talking about the throat letters, we're talking about tajweed and stuff. And yeah, pretty much so. Yeah, the hamza, the ha, the what is it? There's hamza, the ha. There's the ayn, the ghain. There's the qaf, the kaf. And what am I missing? Hamza, ayn, ghain, qaf, kaf. That's 5. Um, the ha, forgot about that. That's 6. Missing one more. What is it? I said calf. Yeah, no, yeah, it doesn't come from the throat. Kha. Yeah, that's it. Kha. Yeah. Okay. All right. So going down now. Oh, this is another example here. This is what the hamza. So the hamza with a kasra is I, right? And if we want to elongate that, we say E. And this is just like in the word Iman, right? This is where, we'll have to start with this, because Iman has that long E sound at the beginning. So it would be a hamza with a kasra, right? Or underneath an alif, of course. And then the ya. So this is how we would begin the word Iman. So that's I, E. So that's just an example of how to elongate with a kasra, right? And so the same thing is going to happen when we elongate with a dhamma. Okay, so now look here. I know this is kind of longer. The class is kind of longer than we normally have it for Arabic, because normally we only cover like a small bit. But we're really ready to start getting into start reading. And now that we've covered the letters, how to say the letters with the vowels, there's only these little small rules, and then after that we're jumping into words. So if we can knock this out today and then implement it the next time we have classes, then that will be the better. Okay, so we've covered with a kasra how to have a short kasra sound and how to have a long kasra sound. It becomes E. T becomes T. Ri becomes Ri. Okay, now we're going to look at the dhamma, right? We have the dhamma here. That's this. That looks like a small wow, right, on the word. And what harf is this? Who remembers? Meme, right? So the meme with a dhamma over it, how do we say that? Mu, right? Now, here's the meme connected to a what? What is this? A wow. So we have the meme and we have the wow and we have the dhamma over the meme. So we have mu here, and here we would elongate that u sound. So this is mu and this will be mu. Right? So you have mu and you have mu. Now take a look at this harf right here. What harf is this? Lam. This is a lam. Right? And on the lam, of course, we have a dhamma, which gives us the what sound? Lu. Right? So we have lu. Now, if we want to elongate the oo sound in lu, we put a wow after the lam. So this is how a lam looks like connected to a wow. Okay? So this will be lu. So we have lu and we have lu. We have mu and we have mu. So you would do this to any letter that you see if you want to have that long oo sound, right? You would have the letter, the harf. You would have the dhamma on top of that harf, and then you will have following it the wow. Any questions on that? Yes. Yeah, like in real. Yes. You're talking about elongation, right? Yeah. Okay, now here let's look at with the fatha and the aleph. Okay, so here we have what harf? Fa, right? We have a fatha over the fa. So what sound does that make? Fa. Now here we have a fa. This is how a fa looks like, connected to an alif. Not a lam, an alif, right? So the fa is connected to an alif, and the fa has a fatha over it. So how do we say this? Fa, right? So we have fa and we have fa. And this fa is like the word fatiha. So if we want to write the word fatiha, we'd have to begin like this, right? We have to begin with the fa and then the alif. Because there's that long ass sound, fatiha, or Fatima as well. Yeah, both of them with the fa sound. Okay, okay. All right, the next harf is ayn. And here we have the ayn with a fatha over it. Right? So how do we say the ayn with a fatha over it? Ah, right. Ah. Wa alaikum salam.
Will it be ayn?
No, it would be ah. Ayn is the letter. The sound is ah. Right? So we have ah, and here we have ayn, ah, right? Right. So that's how it will be. Right? So we have ah, we have ah, right here. Now here we have the sad, the letter sad, with a fatha over it. How do we say a sad with a fatha over it? Sa. Right? So we have sa. Now here we have sad with a fatha over it, followed by an alif. So how do we elongate that? Sa. Okay, so we have sa, we have sa. See how much time we have. Okay, we're making good time. Alhamdulillah. Got half an hour. So I think this would probably be a good place to stop. And then next class we're going to cover a harf that has no vowel sound over it. Sa, sa. Okay? All right, so you see, and this is what we're talking about. For next class, we're talking about this. This indicator right here is something, it's a sign that shows that there is no vowel sound associated with this letter, right? The first letter has a vowel sound, it has a fatha. The first harf has a fatha, the second one does not, and it's represented by that. But it does make a sound. It's like the difference between vowels and consonants, right? So we're going to learn that next class, inshallah ta'ala. We're not going to try to shoehorn that into this class because I think that might, need a little bit more expounding. Yeah, so that will be that, inshallah. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to get out of that, and we're just going to jump right into our tafsir class. Bidnillahi, Jalla Jalalu. I don't have the tafsir open, okay. SubhanAllah. And I told you guys, or at least I tried to prompt you guys that we could finish this in the Ramadan. And inshallah we can, but really this is supposed to be the last class for this subject. But we have not been able to, I'm afraid, finish it in time. There's just so much to cover, so much meat to the topic that it makes it very difficult to cover in the time allocated. Okay, so let's talk about the last class that we had. The last class we talked about al-qasam, or swearing, right? And the three letters, or the three huruf that are used to swear in Arabic are what? What are the three? The waw, the ba, and the ta. Did you get that from somewhere? Okay, no. Only the waw is on there, right? So we can use these to swear, right? And of course, as Muslims, we can only swear by Allah, right? That's pretty much all that needs to be said. Yeah, so here we have the ba, in qala, فَبِعِزَّتِكَ لَأَغْوِيَنَّهُمْ. Right, so that's with the ba there. And you see the ba where it is in the sentence right here, right? فَبِعِزَّتِكَ, right? And here we have, and there's a lot of examples actually in the Quran with ta, right? So here we have in Surah An-Nahl, right? Tallahi. Tallahi. And so it's like saying by Allah. So it's almost like saying billahi. Right? So billahi, tallahi means the same. Or wallahi. All of them the same meaning. Right? Just different letters used. Okay. We talked about the benefits too of swearing, like to show importance of the subject matter, or to show the importance of what's being said, or to be believed, and so forth. Okay, now this is what we're covering today. This is new. We're talking about al-qasas, or stories, okay? And when we talk about story, or the word, we're going to have to talk about the definition, which is mostly what we do when we cover something new. And when we talk about definitions, we talk about the linguistic meaning, and we talk about the meaning of that word used in an Islamic setting or as a terminology. Okay, so al-qasas, the word that's used here, now remember, we're not talking about the word stories and what that means. We're talking about the word qasas, which we translate as the word stories. The word qasas actually means to follow of remnants or traces, anything that's left over. Following things that are left over, this is called qasas, or qassa yaqussu, right? This is where the origin or the meaning comes from. As a terminology, the way that it is used, it is information on a scenario which has different stages in succession. So you know a story has a beginning, a middle, an end. You have, what do you call it again? The high part was what's called climax, you know, and so forth. So all of those things, they make up a story, and this is what we're talking about. Okay. So there are some things to keep in mind when we talk about stories in the Quran. That the most truthful stories are those found in the Quran. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ قِيلًا. وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ قِيلًا. And that means, and who is more truthful than Allah in words? Also, the best stories are those found in the Quran. Not only are they truthful, but they are the best. And to reiterate that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنُ الْقَصَصِ بِمَا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ, which translate as, we relate to you, O Muhammad, the best of stories in what we have revealed to you of this Quran. Okay, so there are three types of stories that we can find in the Quran. Three types. Those stories pertaining to prophets and messengers. Then we have those stories pertaining to individuals or groups. And then we have those stories pertaining to events and people during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like غُلِبَتِ الرُّومِ, talking about the defeat of Rome. Talking about the field. أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. Actually, that's it's a little bit actually before the Prophet ﷺ time. You know, it happened during the year that he was born, and according to the majority of scholars, and Allah Ta'ala knows best. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Prophets and messengers. Now, the stories of the prophets and messengers tell what happens to them with the believers and the disbelievers. How were the prophets alayhimussalam, how were their interactions with the believers, wa alayhimussalam, and how were their interactions with the disbelievers? Okay, so those stories are in the Quran. Individuals and groups. those stories, they tell what happens to them to be a lesson for us, the believers. Examples of that will be like the story of Mary, the story of Luqman, and the companions of the cave. So we use those stories as a lesson for us to learn from. Okay, as for events and people during the Prophet ﷺ, sometimes it tells what happens to them to be a lesson, once again, such as the Battle of Badr and Uhud. Okay, so what is the wisdom in there being stories in the Quran? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put these stories in the Quran? Right? From that is, those stories, they show the wisdom of Allah in what these stories entail. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ جَاءَهُمْ مِنَ الْأَنْبَاءِ مَا فِيهِ مُزْدَجِرٌ حِكْمَةٌ بَالِغَةٌ فَمَا تُغْنِي النُّذُرُ. Which means, and there has already come to them of information to have in them deterrence, extensive wisdom, but warning does not avail them. Also, with the stories in the Quran, Allah shows justice in punishing those who reject faith. Example of that is in Surah Hud, where it says, وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُم وَمَا أَغْنَتْ عَنْهُمْ آلِهَتِهُمْ الَّتِي يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مِن شَيْءٍ لَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُ رَبِّكَ وَمَا زَادُهُمْ غَيْرُ تَتْبِيبٍ. So what does that mean? It says, we did not wrong them, but they wronged themselves. And their gods which they invoke other than Allah were of no benefit to them at all. When there came the command of your Lord, and they did not increase them in other than ruin. Tatbīb. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through these stories, He shows the virtue, or His virtue, in rewarding those who accept faith. We see this in a lot of stories from the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِلَّا آلُ لُوطٍ إِلَّا آلُ لُوطٍ نَجَّيْنَاهُمْ بِسَحَرٍ نِعْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي مَنْ شَكَرَ. Allah says about the family of Lut that we saved them before dawn. As favor from us, thus do we reward he who is grateful. Another benefit of stories that are told in the Quran is that it's a consolation for the Prophet ﷺ due to the harm that he has received from dealing with the disbelievers. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَإِن يُكَذِّبُوكَ فَقَدْ كَذَّبَ الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِهِمْ جَاءَتْهُمْ رُسُلُهُم بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ وَالزُّبُرِ وَبِالْكِتَابِ الْمُنِيرِ ثُمَّ أَخَذْتُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَكَيْفَ كَانَ نَقِيرٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, and if they deny you, then already have those before them denied. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ could look or reflect on the past stories of prophets and see that they had been afflicted or they incurred the same type of interaction or worse that he had incurred, and use that as a way of having solace that he will be victorious and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has indeed put him on a path that is blessed. And that is one of the benefits for him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Did you raise your hand? thought somebody raised it.
No.
Okay. Okay. Another benefit is an encouragement for the believers to have faith by steadfastness upon faith and increasing it by knowing the success of the believers of the past. So we, of course, as believers, we also benefit from these stories because we see what happens to those people of the past who believe and they were firm upon that belief and they were steadfast upon that. So we can take that as a lesson and strengthen our faith with that and so forth. One of my favorites in doing that for me is the story of Ashab al-Ukhdud, right? The companions of the trench. I think that's the right way, or the ditch, I guess you could say, the ditch. You know, when they were dug a hole and then they were thrown in, they were burned alive. How do you guys translate ditch, right? Or what do you, pit? Pit. Okay, yeah, pit will probably be better, yeah. Okay, so that was one of my my favorite stories because, you know, it just shows their perseverance in the face of death. You know, وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَن يَقُولُوا وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَن يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. Allah says about them that the only thing that they had against them was that they believed in Allah al-Aziz al-Hamid. Allah the great, the one who is worthy of all praise. That was the only thing the disbelievers had against them. And they piled up waqud, which is kindle, and they put it in this pit and they put it on fire and they tossed them in there, all because of their faith. Subhanallah. And they held on to that faith. And you know what's interesting about that too, I mean, not to diverge on the topic, but in Islam we wouldn't have to do that out of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on us as Muslims, right? Because if we were compelled to say something of disbelief or something like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala excuse us from that, in a way of saving our life. We can do that as Muslims. Somebody say, do you believe in Islam? If you say yes, I'm going to kill you. You say no. وَقَلْبُنَا مُطْمَئِنٌ بِالْإِيمَانِ. Of course, our hearts have to, be filled with faith. But we can save our lives by doing that. That's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us that He hasn't given the nations before. You understand what I'm saying? Because Ibrahim is looking kind of confused. Ibrahim's like, what? Go ahead, Ibrahim. Go ahead. Break it down for me now. What's going on?
Oh, I thought everything that you matters.
Yeah, but what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? La ikraha fi din. There's no compulsion in deen. And also the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Rufi an ummati al-khata'a wa nisyan wa mastukrihu alayh. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven my nation, forgiven my the Muslims, the people underneath me, what they did or forgetfulness or what they're compelled to do. That's a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I mean, we have that, and the thing is that was something that was never given to the nations from before, and that's another way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has showed His grace and blessings upon us as Muslims and followers of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The people before, they used to be held accountable for what they even thought. You couldn't even think of a sin, but we know the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, man hamma bi sayyi'atin وَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ عِنْدَهُ حَسَنَةً كَامِلَةً. Allah says the person who thinks of a bad deed but doesn't do it, Allah will write that as one good deed with Him. So that's us. But before that, no, the people before that didn't have that luxury. So there's a lot of luxury, alhamdulillah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to the ummah of Muhammad that He hasn't given to anyone else before. Fadl. That was said. Yeah, there is a narration where it was said that was one of the three and things like that. But we're going to cover issues like that, inshallah, when we talk about Israeliyat. So, inshallah. Okay. Another benefit of learning the wisdom behind these stories is that is a discouragement and a warning for the disbelievers who want to continue in disbelief. So in these stories, it shows the end result. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَيَنْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ دَمَّرَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلِلْكَافِرِينَ أَمْثَالُهَا. Right? Allah says, have they not traveled through the land and seen how was the end of those before them? Allah destroyed everything over them, and for the disbelievers is something comparable. Right? So those stories, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the end results of the disbelievers is a warning for those who are disbelief or in a state of disbelief now. And a hope that they would it would be a deterrent for them. Another benefit of these stories is that it is an affirmation of the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because no one knows the tales of those past nations like Allah. Okay, we have the story. I remember when I was a chaplain at Cleveland Clinic, and my supervisor, he was Jewish, and other people that were I guess you could say my chaplain mates or whatever, people that I studied with, they were Christian, and they were talking about the story of Noah and how the people got destroyed and things like that. And I mentioned that his son was among those people that got destroyed, and they looked at me like I was like, what? Because I'm guessing in the Bible it doesn't mention that the son was from amongst the people that weren't saved. So that is in the Quran for us. As the truth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, that He has not given them. So we have the best truth that is complete and from Allah without error. Alhamdulillah. Okay, Fiani? What about it? Is it with us? What? Is that a hadith? Okay. I know it's not coming to mind, but okay.
Many different things that happen along the lines of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that they don't have. They don't say. From what I understand, they don't say. Remember, today it's called Ararat.
Ararat? Ararat?
Yeah, Ararat.
Oh, Ararat. Okay, Ararat. Like, Ara'ait. If I'm seeing it, so okay. I think I've heard that before. Misdirection. How do we get this far? Okay, so how did that happen? Skipped all of this stuff. Yeah, okay, that's the last bit, inshallah ta'ala. And we'll continue on with the rest of it next class. Are there any questions?
Yeah, when is the next class?
Friday.
Every Friday.
Every Friday, inshallah. Okay, so we're done with this. So let's look at now fiqh. And we're just going to do some review, bi'idhnillahi jalla jalaluh. Okay, let's just go back a little bit. We're not here yet. Okay, we're going to review what doesn't invalidate the fast, right? So this is what we covered maybe 2 classes ago. And we kind of broke the things down that doesn't invalidate the class into these 4 categories. So, from the things that doesn't invalidate the fast is things that are done out of forgetfulness, such as eating and drinking and sexual intercourse. Okay, so those things, if they're done out of forgetfulness, they do not invalidate the fast. things that are uncontrollable, you cannot control them, right? Those things, if you do them, they do not invalidate the fast, such as ejaculation by look, and also wet dreams. Okay, these are something that you can't control, so those don't invalidate the fast. Okay, certain things that do not reach the stomach. It doesn't enter the stomach, such as applying kuhul and oils, and also cupping. Those things do not invalidate the fast. Another thing which doesn't invalidate the fast are things that enter the throat. This is talking about things that enter the throat involuntarily. You know, so that's why we have dust, flies, and smoke. Okay, so if you're walking, you're talking to your friend or whatever, and you say, hey, and a fly goes into your mouth, and it's probably happened to a couple of us, you know, before. Don't be shy, it happens. And it's the most nastiest experience, and you try to spit it out, and there's nothing coming out and whatnot. And if you swallow that, though, it doesn't break your fast. Likewise, dust and smoke. And actually, what's important here is the smoke. It not invalidating your fast is the reason why the scholars say it's permissible to use inhalers. An inhaler is basically smoke. You know, they compare it to that. So they said that just like how smoke doesn't invalidate the fast, if you have to use an inhaler, that doesn't invalidate your fast as well. Also, because what you inhale from inhaler, it doesn't go to the stomach, it actually goes to the lungs. So that's another reason as well. What? Go ahead, you. Yeah.
You forgot tasting the food. When you put it in your mouth to taste it, but you spit it back out. It doesn't enter the mouth.
Okay, that is true, but you know we didn't. Yeah, we only covering what the chef had mentioned and stuff like that. So.
Like smoking a cigarette. That's not the same as an inhaler.
No, that's not the same as an inhaler. No, because that has nicotine and stuff like that in there. Okay. All right, so with that, also, we're going to skip all of this stuff because we covered this as well. And this is where we actually finished last class. We spoke about some things which invalidate the fast. We covered things that are controllable, right? Such as ejaculation by kissing, or touching. So if you touch yourself or someone else, and you ejaculate, that breaks the fast. Okay? And if you, of course, kiss someone, then that breaks the fast as well. Ejaculation. Okay, oops, forget about the, why is that there? Wait. Oh, okay, yes. Now here, this is talking about voluntarily putting these things inside your mouth. So if you decide to grab some dust, dirt, and try to eat that, that invalidates the fast. Flies and smoke too, I guess. I don't know how you would actually try to, do that, but yeah, that would invalidate. Okay, now this is new. So let's look at this real quick. Inshallah ta'ala. Okay, now this line says, وَالْأَكْلُ عَمْدًا إِذَا بِنِسْيَانٍ سَقَطْ إِنْ ظَنَّ فِطْرُهُ بِهِ يَقْضِي فَقَطْ. Okay? Al-akl, this vowel is wrong, by the way. I need to change that. That looks like it's a tanween. There shouldn't be a tanween there. It should be a fatha alone. Okay? All right, so it says what akl, and akl is eating. Prophet ﷺ said to Anas, Ya ghulam, kulu bi yaminik, or la ta'kul bi yasarik, kulu bi yaminik, fa inna shaytana ya'kulu bi yasarihi. Right? The hadith of Anas in which the Prophet ﷺ said, Oh ghulam, oh boy, don't eat with your left hand, eat with your right hand, because the shaitan eats with his left. Okay, so that's the word that's used in the hadith, the word akl, right? But it's the verb. This is the noun, right? So it's a noun. So the wa means what? And, right? So wa means and and then we have the word akl, so we have a preposition and a noun and eating. Amdan. Right? It's a noun meaning intentionally. Okay? So when you're talking about doing something intentional, you use this word, amd. Do any of you know the book Umdatul Ahkam? You heard of it? Okay, because the word Umdatul Ahkam comes from this word, amd. But the word umda, meaning foundation, or not really, foundation, or the side, where two sides meet of a house, is where that word comes from. Okay, idha. Idha means when. And I think last time someone asked the question, what's the difference between idha and mata? Right? Mata, because mata means when. Idha means when. What's the difference between mata and idha? Huh? Place and time. So one is for place, the other one is for time? No. No, you had the same thing? Anyone else? It's definitely how you use it, but what's the difference in usage?
The word before that word.
Past and present.
No. Past and present, no. Good guesses, though.
Choices.
Okay, we're getting close. Choices. Like, can we say the word conditional, maybe? Maybe that would be best. So, for example, when you go to bed, the sun comes up. For example, that when there has nothing to do with asking a question. Like, I'm not saying, when are you going to bed? It's conditional. So that conditional is idha. If you're asking a question, mata. Okay, like, when is suhoor? And mata suhoor, when is suhoor? When do you go to school? Mata tathabil al-madrasa. Right? Like that. So that's mata. It's for questions. But idha is conditional. It's just in statements, basically. Okay? Okay. Be nisyan.